My childhood sweetheart falls for the school bully. To clear the bully's name, she actually frames me for murder in my past life. The school bully constantly tormented and bullied her, but she didn't mind. She even saw it as a playful game between them. I was always considerate toward her, protecting her at all costs, yet she treated me as nothing more than a backup tool, using me and brushing me off at every turn. Reborn into a new life. When Tian comes to me with her grievances and pleas for help, I smile and gently pry her hands away. Sorry, we're not that close. At the start of senior year, a bombshell exploded across the school. Tian's mother, lacking all propriety, had actually seduced our classmate Sun Hao's father into an affair. When Tian's father caught them in the act, he flew into a rage and stabbed Sun's father 42 times, causing fatal injuries. Tian's father thus became a murderer, becoming the hot topic of discussion across the city. As soon as I entered the classroom, I heard the buzz of my classmates' voices. How terrifying. I never thought Tian's mother would be that kind of person. So from now on, Tian is the daughter of a murderer. If I were her, I would have dropped out and switched classes long ago. What was the school thinking? Letting the daughter of a murderer study with us. Amid the noisy chatter, Tian also walked into the classroom with her head down. She wore a pure white long dress, her slender figure evoking pity, clutching a few books tightly in her arms. As soon as she sat down in her seat, the classmates around her quickly moved away and taunted her, saying, "Get lost, daughter of a murderer. We don't want to be tainted by your bad luck." Tian suddenly lifted her head, tears welling up in her eyes. Just then, another classmate spoke maliciously. "So your mother is a homewrecker. No wonder you reek of scandal." Too. Tian bit her lip, her heart on the verge of tears, and finally looked at me with a pitiful expression. And I pretended not to see it and replied indifferently, "They were the ones bullying you, so why are you calling me?" Tian's body trembled, and she wore an expression of disbelief. She asked me in confusion, "And what's wrong with you? You weren't like this before." I asked back with a mocking tone, "What was I like before? Protecting you no matter what. If it were before, I would indeed have done that. I would definitely have pulled Tian behind me and told everyone that it was her parents' fault, not hers, that she was also a victim of the whole incident. And as classmates, we should take care of and understand Tian, not bully her at school. But the memories of my past life are still vivid in my mind, and I deeply know that this girl in front of me is not worth my doing that." Tian never appreciated everything I did for her from beginning to end. She only saw me as a tool she could use. She fell in love with the school bully Sun Hao and was even willing to hurt me for that man. After the college entrance exam, our classmates were drinking at a bar to celebrate. Sun Hao got drunk, dragged a female classmate into the restroom, and killed her. Tian, in order to protect her beloved, quickly took Sun Hao away from the scene and fabricated an alibi for him to clear Sun Hao of suspicion. She even deliberately left my pen on the victim's body. She called me pitifully, claiming she was being bullied at a class reunion, and lured me to the scene. But by the time I arrived, all I saw was the body hidden in the restroom, along with the police officers who arrived shortly after. During the court trial, Tian committed perjury to exonerate Sun Hao, framing me at every turn and pinning the murder charge on me. And just like that, I went from a top student destined for Tsinghua or Peking University to a convicted murderer. Meanwhile, Tian and Sun Hao roamed free, marrying and having children without a shred of guilt. In this life, I will never again be fooled by Tian's pitiful facade. Faced with my questioning, Tian was at a loss for words. I let out a cold laugh, cutting her off sharply, and said, "Helping you before was out of kindness. Not helping you now is my right. You have no reason to morally blackmail me into helping you, do you?" Tian was finally left speechless, while the surrounding classmates began to gossip mockingly. Even Han, who's always been kind and easygoing, won't have anything to do with her. I doubt anyone will protect her from now on. A few troublemakers stepped forward and kicked over Tian's desk, shouting at her, "Fox spirit, daughter of a murderer, Get out of here. Someone else shoved Tian, causing her to fall to the ground. She curled up pitifully, still casting tearful, pleading glances at me. I pretended not to see, focusing intently on taking out the book for the upcoming class and diligently reviewing it. Just then, someone at the door shouted, "Stop messing around. Brother Hao is here. Let Brother Hao deal with this woman." I looked up toward the door, and sure enough, Sun Hao's figure appeared at the classroom entrance, surrounded by a crowd of thugs. Sun Hao is something of a big shot around here. While other students wear their school uniforms every day, he shows up in loose, flashy t-shirts with a fake gold chain around his neck. Our school doesn't allow students to dye their hair, but he sports a head of glaring yellow hair. If a teacher scolds him, he dares to pick up a stool and fight back. Once, a disciplined teacher caught him smoking on the playground, and Sun Hao broke the teacher's nose with a single punch. The school wanted to expel him back then, but Sun Hao's mother threw a huge fit, crying, screaming, and threatening to jump off the roof in the principal's office. The principal was terrified, worried they'd cause a death on campus, so he had no choice but to let Sun Hao stay for the time being. When Sun's father was still alive, Sun Hao could restrain himself a little. Now that Sun's father has been killed by Tian's father, he has become even more reckless at school. When the thugs saw Sun Hao approaching, they quickly made way and said to him with flattering expressions, "Brother Hao is here. We heard about what happened to your father, and we're just venting your anger for you." Seeing Sun Hao's eerie gaze fixed on Tian, the thug shuddered and pointed at her, saying, "Maybe you should handle it yourself." When Sun Hao arrived, Tian shot him a displeased look and slowly picked herself up from the ground. But Sun Hao stepped forward and kicked her over again. Tian winced in pain, furrowing her brows as she confronted Sun Hao. "What are you doing?" Sun Hao approached with a sly grin, grabbing her hair and taunting, "Your mom is a shameless flirt, and so are you. Look, your mom can serve my dad, so shouldn't you serve me too? Be my girlfriend, and I'll give you money from now on." Before he could finish his words, Tian shoved him away in anger and humiliation. Tian, with reddened eyes, shouted at him, "Get lost. Don't touch me." She then looked at me with a pitiful expression, calling out for help. "Han Yen." Sun Hao's threatening gaze turned toward me, his voice cold. "Han Yen, do you dare to meddle?" I continued flipping through my book, saying indifferently, "It's none of my business. Do as you please." Sun Hao then burst into a triumphant laugh, patting Tian's face mockingly. "See, even Yen knows you're a—" I knew, of course, I knew, although Tian now seems very upset and resistant to Sun Hao's bullying. In reality, she actually enjoys it and finds it thrilling. In her past life, after she got me sent to prison, Tian pretentiously published a book specifically about her love story with Sun Hao. In that book, she portrayed all of Sun Hao's bullying and harassment as the clumsy pure love of a boy for a girl during their youth. Even when Sun Hao cornered her in the restroom and made advances, she described it in a way that made hearts race and blush with an ambiguous pink bubble atmosphere. This was just the guilty little game of Tian and Sun Hao, him chasing and her running, and I was merely a part of their little game, a tool to satisfy Tian's sense of superiority. The class bell rang. Sun Hao glanced wearily at the classroom door, patted Tian's face, and threatened, "Wait for me after school. If you dare to run, you know the consequences." After school, Tian didn't wait for Sun Hao. Instead, she blocked me at the school gate. She asked me pitifully, "Yen, why didn't you wait for me? We used to go home together." My home and Tian's home weren't actually on the same route. But after evening self-study in senior year, it was already very late. I was worried that Tian, being a girl, wouldn't be safe walking alone at night. So every evening I would take a longer route to walk her home. Tian expressed gratitude to me verbally, but in the later novel she wrote when describing this part of the story, it was clear that she wasn't grateful at all. Instead, she felt that I was always following her, intruding on the time she could have spent with Sun Hao, and she portrayed me as an oblivious tagalong. I let out a scoff and asked back, "Is there something you need?" Tian Tian sniffled and asked me, "Do you have some misunderstanding about me? You weren't like this before." As she spoke, she reached out to grab my hand, but I dodged just in time. Tian Tian's movements froze, and an awkward expression appeared on her face. She then asked me, "Do you also think like the other classmates that I'm the daughter of a murderer? But did I willingly stay in such a home? I'm clearly a victim too." I coldly interrupted her, saying, "This is your family matter. None of my business, isn't it?" Meeting Tian Tian's shocked expression, I added softly, "We're just classmates. You've crossed the line." Tian Tian was left speechless, but after a moment, her expression turned guilty and flustered. "Yen, what's wrong with you? You were never like this before. Did you find out something? Otherwise, you wouldn't treat me like this." I countered. "Then how do you want me to treat you?" Tian Tian bit her lip and said cautiously, "Before, when you saw Sun Hao bullying me, you would always help me." I let out a scoff and asked sarcastically, "You think he was bullying you? Did you really need my help?" In Tian Tian's perspective, even when being bullied by Sun Hao, she actually enjoyed it. Tian Tian forced a stiff smile. "Of course, he's a demon. I wish I could tear him into 1,000 pieces." Meeting her earnest expression, I let out a low chuckle and leaned in to say, "All right, I'll wait to see how you perform in the future." The next day, Sun Hao cornered Tian Tian in a small alley near the school. The reason, of course, was that Tian Tian hadn't waited for him after school the day before, which completely infuriated Sun Hao. Seeing their figures, I stopped in my tracks and slowly approached the alley where they were hiding, eavesdropping on their conversation. In the end, I heard Tian Tian's pleading, ingratiating voice, "Ahao, you have to believe me. Of course I love you. What I'm doing now is all out of necessity. I'm worried that Han Yen will retaliate against you and harm you. So that's why I'm being nice to him." She stepped forward and embraced Sun Hao, murmuring, "Maybe you don't know how much I love you. I'll prove it to you later. But before that, I need to figure out what's really going on with Yen." Sun Hao let out a sarcastic laugh and pushed Tian Tian away. He grabbed Tian Tian by the hair, forcing her to look at him, and retorted, "You're saying Han Yen will harm me in the future." Tian Tian winced, protecting her hair and nodding repeatedly, then said, "Right now, I'm just speculating because Han Yan's attitude toward me has completely changed. I suspect he must know something, so I have to get close to him and figure this out." Even after being treated so roughly by Sun Hao, she still didn't forget to show him kindness. "Ahao, believe me, I will never harm you, no matter what happens. The only person I love is you." She looked at Sun Hao with hopeful eyes and asked, "Ahao, you like me too, right? With so many girls in school, why did you single me out? Is it because of what happened between my parents and your dad? You hate me and don't know how to treat me, so you can only vent your hatred this way. But in truth, you like me, don't you?" Sun Hao frowned as he listened to her wild accusations. After a moment, he suddenly smiled and said, "Of course I like you." He caressed Tian Tian's face and whispered seductively, "You say you like me. Fine. Tomorrow night, call Han Yen to the small grove by the playground." I understand Sun Hao's intentions very clearly. He is simply born malicious, with a narrow mind, just because he scored single digits and ranked last in the grade on this mock exam, dragging down our class's average score. He got a few nagging remarks from the Chinese teacher. He harbored a grudge and wanted revenge. That small grove of trees on campus is exactly the path the Chinese teacher takes every day after work to go home. And tomorrow evening's self-study session happens to be Chinese class. In my past life, our Chinese teacher was attacked by Sun Hao at this exact time. However, because it was dark at the time, and Sun Hao covered the Chinese teacher's head with a sack while assaulting her, dragging her into the small grove on the playground. Even the Chinese teacher couldn't clearly see who was beating her, and the case was eventually dropped. So I was certain that he intended to harm the Chinese teacher and frame me for it. But what truly made me uneasy was not Sun Hao, but Tian Tian. I always felt that Tian's behavior seemed a bit off. In my previous life, there was actually no conflict between Sun Hao and me. Every time I clashed with Sun Hao, it was to defend Tian Tian. But now that we've fallen out, Why does she still insist that I want to retaliate against Sun Hao and harm him? Moreover, the feelings between Sun Hao and Tian Tian developed over a long period from now until the college entrance exam. But why is Tian Tian already showing affection for Sun Hao now, acting as if Sun Hao is bound to like her? Could it be that she is also reborn? This thought suddenly popped into my mind, startling me so much that cold sweat began to trickle down my back. If Tian Tian really is reborn, then the uncertain reason she tearfully mentioned to Sun Hao might be that she noticed my sudden change in attitude toward her and suspected that I too am reborn. That would explain why she was so certain that I would seek revenge on Sun Hao. I furrowed my brow slightly, gazing at the two figures embracing in the alley. Lost in thought, what should I do to clear up the doubts in my mind? And if Tian Tian really is reborn, then what should I do from now on? Today, a transfer student came to our class. That girl's name is Lu Jingyi. She was Tian Tian's best friend in her past life and also the victim that Sun Hao got drunk and killed. The teacher introduced Lu Jingyi to everyone and finally said, "Classmate Jingyi has just joined our class. I hope everyone can help her out. Tian Tian, you can sit with Jingyi." In her previous life, Tian Tian was ostracized by her classmates, left to sit alone in the last row. It was Lu Jingyi's arrival, becoming her desk mate, that changed things, and when she saw those classmates bullying her, she would step forward to stand up for her. The two of them thus became the best of friends. But now, facing Lu Jingyi, who had just transferred to the school, Tian Tian kept her head down, looking guilty, not daring to lift her eyes to meet the other's gaze. She finally muttered softly, "Teacher, I want to sit alone and not share a desk with anyone." I frowned as my earlier suspicion that Tian Tian had been reborn was once again confirmed. The teacher hesitated, but in the end, I was the first to raise my hand and said, "Teacher, let Lu Jingyi sit with me." Lu Jingyi was a very good girl in her past life. She offended Sun Hao and his group just to stand up for Tian Tian. Unfortunately, Tian Tian was never worthy of being her best friend, nor did she deserve Lu Jingyi's efforts and protection in the previous life. It was because of her death that I ended up in prison and became a murderer, so I must protect her. The teacher nodded and said, "All right, Lu Jingyi, you can sit with Han Yen." Seeing me raise my hand to request sitting next to Lu Jingyi, Tian Tian suddenly lifted her head, looking at me with an expression of utter disbelief. The moment our eyes met, I was absolutely certain of my suspicion. Tian Tian was indeed also reborn. She felt guilty toward Jingyi, which was why she didn't dare to be her deskmate. Moreover, at the same time, I confirmed her identity. She had already verified the fact of my rebirth. Because she confirmed my rebirth, Tian Tian treated me especially well. After the physical education class ended, Tian Tian ingratiatingly brought me a bottle of water and humbly handed it to me, saying, "Han Yen, you were sweating a lot from running just now. Have some water to rehydrate first." Before I could even reach out, Sun Hao snatched the bottle of water away first, his sinister gaze fixed on Tian Tian as he said, "Didn't I tell you to be my girlfriend? You're my woman. Why are you being nice to him? Don't let me see you getting close to Han again." Tian Tian and I exchanged a glance, both of us remaining silent. Lu Jingyi, however, couldn't stand it anymore. She stood up and scolded Sun Hao. "Sun Hao, what do you mean by that? Tian Tian can give water to whoever she wants. What business is it of yours? Do I need to call the teacher and report you for bullying a classmate?" Sun Hao shot a threatening glare at her and gritted his teeth, saying, "Mind your own business." Lu Jingyi let out a scoff. "I really can't stand you thugs bullying people." So what? In her past life, Lu Jingyi had caught Sun Hao's attention precisely because she stood up to protect Tian Tian. I quickly grabbed Lu Jingyi, and Tian Tian stepped forward, smiling awkwardly, as she said, "Thank you, Lu, but it's okay. We're all classmates, and giving this bottle of water to anyone is the same." She clearly wanted to draw a clear line with Lu Jingyi, so she stepped back, distancing herself from us, and said, "Sun Hao is a bit domineering and overbearing, but he means no harm to me. Don't call the teacher. No one is bullying me here." Finally, she turned her gaze to me and asked wearily, "Han Yen, I have something I want to say to you. Can you come out with me for a moment? When we were alone together, Tian once again burst into tears. Her face was streaked with rain. She even came up to hug me, saying, Yen, it's so great that you've been reborn too. This time, I didn't cause your death. I deliberately didn't push her away, only asking coldly, what do you mean? Tian wiped her tears, then reached out to touch my face, saying, I know you still hate me because of what happened in the past life, right? It was my fault in the past life, but I've already realized my mistake. I can see that Sun Hao only brings me pain. Only you and Jingyi have been the best to me. I want to make it up to you and change your fate in this life. Please forgive me. Okay. If I hadn't overheard Tian's conversation with Sun Hao in the alley that day, I would have truly been fooled by her facade. Tian sniffled and said pitifully, maybe you don't know, but in my past life, after I married Sun Hao, life wasn't good. He always hit me and cheated on me with other women. I regret so much that I harmed you and Jingyi. Only now do I realize that you two are the ones who treated me the best. How could I not know? During my time in prison, I racked my brains every day just to find out how the two of them were doing. Tian and Sun Hao both failed to get into college and got married soon after graduating from high school. Relying on her cliched melodramatic romance with Sun Hao, Tian became a famous online writer adored by countless young girls. And Sun Hao suddenly became the real-life prototype of the male lead in the novels those young girls worshipped. But Sun Hao didn't settle down and play out the prodigal son returns love story with Tian. He was blinded by fame and fortune, constantly cheating and dating other women, even beating Tian so badly that she miscarried. But in public, Tian still gritted her teeth and defended him, claiming that the bruises on her face were from her own falls. As for Sun Hao's endless affairs, she insisted it was other shameless women who seduced him and interfered in their marriage. Never her dear husband's fault, since she wanted to put on a show. Play along. I asked her softly, are you truly regretful? Do you really want to leave Sun Hao? Will you stop aiding and abetting his wrongdoings? Seeing Tian nod, I smiled again. All right, then what do you want to do next? Tian argued that it was Sun Hao who kept pestering her, and that she herself had long wanted to cut ties with him completely. She also lied to me, saying that she had arranged to meet Sun Hao in the small woods after school in the evening to confess and make things clear. She said she was scared and hoped I could accompany her. Of course, I am happy to agree to her request. Not only that, I specifically called Lu Jingyi and had her lie in ambush near the small playground in advance. Lu Jingyi asked me in confusion, Yen, why are we waiting here? I gave her a mysterious smile and deliberately explained. Tian said she's meeting Sun Hao here tonight and is worried he might harm her, so she asked us to wait here first. If anything happens, we should call the police quickly. We had been lying in ambush near the small playground for half an hour before we finally saw Tian's figure. She stood at the entrance of the small woods and called Sun Hao, saying, Ahao, I'm already here. Are you ready over there? Seeing Tian on the phone, Lu Jingyi asked in confusion, why does Tian seem so familiar with Sun Hao? Also, why did Sun Hao ask Tian to meet here in the middle of the night? I let out a snort and glanced at the intersection again, saying, just wait, you'll know soon enough. After Tian tipped off Sun Hao, she hurriedly left. Immediately after, the Chinese teacher appeared at the entrance of the small grove. She had just ridden past on her bicycle when Sun Hao and his group knocked her down with clubs. Before she could react, they covered her head with a sack and dragged her into the grove. Seeing this, I gritted my teeth and said to Lu Jingyi, I'm gonna rush out now. You call the police quickly. Sun Hao was completely stunned. Also dumbfounded was Tian, who rushed to the scene upon hearing the news. She looked at the Chinese teacher we had rescued and the officers present, her face full of disbelief. Finally, she tentatively asked Lu Jingyi, Classmate Lu, why are you here? And these officers? Lu Jingyi replied in confusion, didn't you say you were meeting Sun Hao here and were worried he might harm you? So you asked me and Yen to lie in wait here temporarily. I didn't expect to miss you and Sun Hao, but instead ran into the Chinese teacher. Tian Tian bit her lower lip and finally turned to me with a trembling voice. Han Yen, why did you bring them here? I asked back in confusion. Didn't you notify me? You said Sun Hao wanted to meet you here and you were worried he might harm you. So you asked me to come with you. Meeting Tian Tian's resentful gaze, I spread my hands and said with a smile, knowing that Sun Hao had ill intentions. How could I possibly come here alone? Luckily, I called the police. He won't bother you anymore, so you can rest assured. Not far away, Sun Hao was being escorted by the police, shouting angrily at Tian Tian. You, how dare you trick me? So this was all your plan. You deliberately conspired with Han Yen to set me up. Tian Tian trembled in fear, gazing at Sun Hao from a distance, her heart nearly shattering. She murmured softly, "How?" But because Lu Jingyi and I were present, she dared not show anything, so she could only hastily fall silent. Sun Hao was taken away by the police officer, and as he left, he was still cursing Tian Tian with a dark, sinister expression. Tian Tian's face was pale, her lips tightly bitten, as if watching her beloved being taken away by the police had ripped out her heart and soul. I deliberately said to Tian Tian, Sun Hao has finally reaped what he sowed. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Tian Tian suddenly snapped back to reality, grabbing my arm and flattering me. Yeah. Han Yen, from now on, we're safe. Can you trust me now? Believe her? Of course I don't. All of this is just part of my plan to deal with her and Sun Hao. Before I went to the appointment, Tian Tian even called Sun Hao to collude. If I hadn't brought Lu Jingyi along, and if Lu Jingyi hadn't called the police, then they would have framed me for the attack on the Chinese teacher. And in the end, I would have been the one to suffer. Tian Tian is just putting on a fake act now to lower my guard and help Sun Hao deal with me. Because of the incident where he attacked the Chinese teacher, Sun Hao completely angered the school, and the school ultimately expelled him. Sun Hao's mother came to the school again to cause a scene, standing on the top floor of the teaching building, crying and shouting that she would jump off. But the school did not give in. In the end, the police arrived and took Sun Hao's mother away. That day, Sun Hao was also there. The school and the Chinese teacher, considering that he was still young, were willing to give him a chance. The Chinese teacher wrote a letter of understanding for him, securing Sun Hao's release from the police station. Sun Hao came to find his mother, and upon seeing Tian Tian and me at the scene, his expression turned into a meaningful and venomous glare. I knew he would never let us off, so I remained constantly on guard against him. That afternoon, school was dismissed early, and there were no evening classes. Tian Tian and I were on duty that day, so we went home a bit later than the other students. When I came back from taking out the trash downstairs, I heard Tian Tian's pleading voice coming from the women's restroom. "Ahau, please don't be like this." I didn't expect him to call the police either. This is all Han Yan's fault. I quietly approached and saw Sun Hao cornering Tian Tian against the restroom wall. Tian Tian said, "This is all Han Yan and Lu Jingyi's meddling. They're the ones who got you expelled. I hate them to death." Sun Hao, wearing a baseball cap, revealed a sinister expression. "Hate them? Are you sure you didn't deliberately set all this up?" Tian Tian shook her head repeatedly. "No, of course not. Ahau, I can feel that. Han Yan has become wary of us. He doesn't trust me. That's why he called the police." Sun Hao asked in a low voice, "What about Lu Jingyi?" Tian Tian's voice trembled as she cautiously asked, "Ahau, what are you planning to do?" Sun Hao revealed a sinister and venomous smile, saying, "That woman always messes up my plans. Of course I'm going to make her taste a fate worse than death." Hearing the conversation between Sun Hao and Tian Tian, I felt very unsettled. In my past life, Lu Jingyi died at the hands of Sun Hao, although I thought at the time that Sun Hao was drunk and acted recklessly without intention. It now seems that Sun Hao had already set his sights on Lu Jingyi long before. His attack on her was no accident. What about Tian Tian? I thought in my past life that she was trying to protect Sun Hao, which was why she concealed the truth about Lu Jingyi's death. In this life, what choice will she make? Lu Jingyi was her best friend from her past life, always looking out for her and treating her extremely well. Would Tian Tian betray Lu Jingyi for Sun Hao? As it turned out, this woman truly had no moral boundaries at all. The morning after Sun Hao came to see her, she came to find me and Lu Jingyi, using the excuse that her birthday was coming up and she wanted to celebrate. I glanced at Lu Jingyi sitting beside me, sensing a vague premonition of trouble, so I politely declined, saying, "Isn't your birthday still half a month away? The college entrance exam is coming up soon, and we want to focus on reviewing. Let's celebrate after the exams are over." Tian's face turned pale, and she tugged at her clothes while biting her lip, saying, "It's precisely because the college entrance exam is coming up soon that I want to celebrate in advance. It won't work if it's too late." Afraid that we might refuse, Tian lowered her head and put on a dejected, heartbroken look as she said, "I know I'm annoying and none of you like me. It's only right that you don't want to celebrate my birthday." At that moment, Lu Jingyi suddenly spoke up and said, "Fine." She turned her head to glance at me and said, "It's just a birthday, isn't it? Taking half a day off won't hurt." Seeing Lu Jingyi agree, Tian smiled triumphantly and said, "Jingyi, you're the best. You and Han Yen must come." "Okay, I've booked a private room at the KTV. Having my two best friends celebrate my birthday with me makes me really happy." Best friends. I sneered inwardly. It seemed Tian and Sun Hao planned to make a move on Jingyi tonight. I must find a way to stop it in time. It was Tian's birthday, so she invited many classmates from our class to come. Seeing that it was for Tian's birthday, those classmates looked quite reluctant. "Han Yen, why are you still hanging out with that vixen? If we had known it was for her birthday, we wouldn't have come." Tian's face turned pale and she asked me guiltily, "Didn't I ask you to bring Jingyi? Why did you bring so many people?" I said with feigned innocence, "It's your birthday. Of course, the more people celebrating, the livelier it is." During the birthday dinner, Tian made several excuses to have Lu Jingyi accompany her outside, but I stopped her every time. Tian bit her lip and muttered softly, "Han Yen, I just wanted Jingyi to come with me to get the cake." I smiled and said, "Isn't it unsafe for two girls to go out alone? Let me go with you." After picking up the cake with Tian, I suddenly realized that Lu Jingyi was no longer in the private room. I quickly grabbed one of my classmates and asked, "Where's Lu Jingyi? Wasn't she just here a moment ago?" The classmate let out a nod and said in confusion, "Lu Jingyi just got a phone call and rushed out in a hurry." My heart immediately sank, and I knew something was wrong. I was so focused on guarding against Tian that I forgot about Sun Hao. Lu Jingyi must have been taken away by Sun Hao. I turned my head to look at Tian and pressed her, demanding, Tian, where is Lu Jingyi?" Tian still put on a pitiful look and said, "I don't know." I let out a cold laugh, grabbed her collar tightly, and said, "Do you think I don't know about the things you and Sun Hao planned? I'm warning you. If anything happens to Lu Jingyi, you won't get away with it either." By the time we arrived at the scene, Lu Jingyi was already injured. Her clothes were torn open by Sun Hao. Strands of pulled-out hair were scattered on the floor, and her mouth and face were covered with bruises from the beating. Sun Hao didn't get off easy either. His face was scratched all over by Lu Jingyi. When we burst through the door, he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and spat at Lu Jingyi. "Damn, you're pretty tough. Let's see if you can still be so hard later." Startled by our sudden entrance, Sun Hao looked shocked and incredulous. Then he turned to glare at Tian and roared at her. "You lied to me." Tears welled up in Tian's eyes, and her lips trembled as she said, "How? I calmly interrupted her, saying, "Of course Tian hates you. It was your father who destroyed her family, and it was you who made it impossible for her to stay in school. You can't be so stupid as to actually believe Tian likes you, can you? She said she wishes she could cut you into 1,000 pieces." After I finished speaking, I took out the recording on my phone and played back what Tian had said earlier. In front of me, Tian's every ounce of hatred toward Sun Hao was laid bare. Tian covered her mouth in disbelief, her voice trembling as she asked me, "Yen, you actually recorded this?" I looked at her with feigned innocence and retorted, "What else? You said you hated Sun Hao and wanted to get back at him." Meeting their shocked gazes, I curled my lips into a smile and said meaningfully, "What you said to Sun Hao is completely different from what you said to me. You wouldn't be lying to me, would you?" Sun Hao roared as he grabbed Tian Tian by the throat. Behind them was a shabby, worn-out floor-to-ceiling window. We only heard the sound of glass shattering before we saw Sun Hao and Tian Tian fall together. As they fell, they hit a power line, and in an instant, sparks flew. Sun Hao died, but Tian Tian did not. Though due to the electric shock and injuries from the fall, she became disabled and had to have one leg and one arm amputated. She remained unconscious in the hospital. Tian's mother was naturally unwilling. She hung a sign around her neck and came to the school and the Sun family every day to cause trouble, demanding compensation. The Sun family was also unwilling, especially Sun Hao's mother, who was originally a fierce and unreasonable person, coupled with the fact that Tian's mother had an affair with Sun's father, leading to Sun's father being hacked to death. She had long harbored resentment against the Tian family. Now, with this incident, the conflict naturally escalated even further. Sun Hao's mother and Tian's mother directly started fighting at the entrance of our school. The dispute escalated to the point where the police were called. In the end, the results of the police investigation left everyone utterly stunned. The plan to trick me and Lu Jingyi into going to the birthday party was something Tian Tian and Sun Hao had already discussed. Even the plan for Sun Hao to attack Lu Jingyi was something Tian Tian actively participated in. Therefore, Tian Tian was never a victim, nor did she ever intend to seek revenge on Sun Hao. Once the police officer's investigation results came out, Tian Tian was completely disgraced. Tian's mother didn't get any money from the school or the Sun family. She ignored Tian Tian and left her alone in the hospital. The last time I heard news about Tian Tian, she had already regained consciousness. But the first thing she faced upon waking up was being taken away by the police to face legal judgment. Our local newspaper reported on the incident involving Tian Tian and Sun Hao, and this shocking news quickly spread online. Many netizens chimed in with comments below. "Oh my God, am I seeing this right? The woman's mother cheated with the man's father, and now these two have hooked up too. This man is truly wicked, and the woman is no good either. She actually willingly offered up her kind best friend just to please him." When Tian Tian was sentenced, the internet cheered in unison, calling it a satisfying outcome. I also attended her trial alongside Lu Jingyi. When Tian Tian was escorted out of the courtroom by the prison guards, she saw us. Her eyes were filled with tears, and she was visibly agitated, struggling to lunge toward us. But she couldn't succeed due to the electric shock she had suffered earlier. Her speech nerves were damaged, leaving her confined to a wheelchair, only able to make vague, muffled sounds. After Tian Tian was imprisoned, Lu Jingyi and I took the college entrance exams and were admitted to prestigious universities. Our glorious future has only just begun. As for Tian Tian and Sun Hao, two rotten souls, perfectly matched, may they rot in hell together.